Hello and welcome to the Winners Find a Way show. I am Trent Clark, your host, CEO of Leadershipity, serial entrepreneur, and longtime international speaker and former coach in professional baseball coaching in 3 World Series. And welcome to the show. Today we are doing a special edition of, again, the best in the world. And people ask me a lot, hey, what do the best in the world do? What do the best in the world do about this? And having coached elite athletes at that premier level, coaching in 3 World Series and coaching top entrepreneurs, CEOs who are making millions and millions of dollars, creating massive opportunity and jobs for people. The best in the world do some very specific things. First, they sacrifice. I mean, every person that I know that, especially great leaders, they have fabulous self-discipline, which means they pay a price. There is a fee for getting to that next level. And they know, hey, without the work, I don't get the result. So they are willing to wake up at 4:40, wake up at 4:30 in the morning, wake up at 4:50, whatever case it needs from them, they are willing to do it. And I love that about the best in the world because it's a discipline that's admirable. Not everybody wants to do it. I mean, if I had my choice, I think I'd rather arrive in at the hotel, get some room service, watch a movie, eat some bonbons. Like, listen, that's what I'd rather do, but I tend to go to the gym as soon as I land and go into the hotel, get my exercise in, get my body moving so I get my circadian rhythm back on with the local times. It's so important. So there's a sacrifice that I make because I probably could use some rest, but I keep moving with my body to train it up for the future because that rest is short term. So understanding that long term view and that short term view is so critical, and the best in the world really get that. The next thing that the best in the world get about becoming great is that you will have to go the extra mile, and extra work just counts double, right? I love the grit formula where effort counts twice, where you have talent times effort equals skill. Well, that's awesome. And then you take that skill number, and skill times effort equals achievement. And if you're not willing to put in the effort, like I've seen tons of very talented players with no effort. That number is very low. Therefore, then we come back down here where we have a low number times a low effort, no big achievements there. So having all the skill in the world doesn't necessarily produce great results. Um, by getting in that time, that's the big thing. I love the famous quote by Roger Staubach, where he says, "There's no traffic jams along the extra mile." A guy who went to Annapolis, knew the efforts, knew how hard it was to work, paid sacrifice to go into the Navy, then go to the NFL as an older player, which is very different than now. If you get a guy arriving at the NFL at 24, 25 years old, and we had, I think, 5 starting quarterbacks under the age of 21 this year in the NFL for the first game, which is unheard of. It's getting younger and the talent. So sacrifices were made in order for him to get to that level. And so the other thing I think that's so critical is that the 10,000 hour rules. Malcolm Gladwell wrote a book called Outliers, and there's all sorts of different factors in there about education and about sport and about the chance of birthday date and how school works and how we label kids at a young age and how that's affecting our long-term outlook. And it's being judged at a very early age that changes everything. And so when we look at those 10,000 hours, that was very specifically something he talked about, how it takes 10,000 hours to be an expert. And that was critical for people to understand, because if I'm just going to do one thing and really do it very well, better than anybody, and become an expert status and go to that 98, 99th percentile, that means in a normal work period, let's just take that into a work day. If I worked 8 hours a day for 40 hours a week, and I did that for 50 weeks with 2 weeks of vacation on my year, and I only did this one thing, I would get to those 10,000 hours, of course, in 5 years. 5 years of dedication and commitment, do nothing else except this one thing. And people are always astounded by young gymnastics. gymnasts who hit the Olympics at 13, 14 years old, but they already have the 10,000 hours. And because they were established as very good at young ages, they can hyper speed that by going into the best coaching, which was another key element of the best in the world, right? They go and they go get coaching from the best. They call people like me because they've seen like, hey, you've worked with the best. I want to be the best. What does that take? And so they go and get that. The advantage of, as he spoke about in hockey, of the player who was born early January, who's now gets into that. That means he's got an advantage of being that early birthday. So he gets 2 more years. So in the second year of his hockey season, he nearly spends the entire year older than his age division, because on that date of January 1, he's only 15 years old. And then at January 1, he goes 16, but he gets to play 15U that whole year and every year following. So that player, because of maturity, size, skill, they get better coaching because they get put on better teams and they go to travel programs that offer more opportunities, weightlifting, skill training, nutritionists, and they are trained up better in their 10,000 hours. So that is really critical that the best in the world truly understand. I think the last thing I would like to touch on is the best in the world really understand each moment counts. They take their moments, they're committed, they're not just interested. I like to say, are you interested or are you committed? And you need to decide that, right? And I think interested is people are talking about it. Well, I'm really interested in getting my exercise routine on. I'm interested in building out a 5 or 6 day education nutrition program, and I'm interested in joining a gym, and I'm interested in buying some workout gear, and I'm interested in really losing this weight because man, look how interested I am. But none of those things actually help the weight fall off, right? If I'm committed, I'm doing those things. I am up at 5 o'clock. I am at the gym at 5:30. I am getting my exercise routine on. I am eating my greens, my vegetables, my fruits. I am taking those in. I'm making wise choices each meal. I'm counting my calories to make sure that I'm not exceeding my daily output each day. Very wise about my nutrition and the fuel I put into my body, because you'll know the difference between the interested and the committed, because the interested are talking about it, the committed are doing it, right? So the best in the world also understand this Parkinson's law and the value of time and how it shrinks based on urgency, right? So this becomes so critical as we look into you are looking for an opportunity, and opportunities come in like these fractional moments. You don't know when they're going to come, but you have to be prepared when they come. So there's all sorts of opportunities that come along the line, except the issue is you may practice for 100, 180, 240 days without getting an opportunity. And then all of a sudden it presents itself and you have to be ready. Part of that positioning is the focus on where I'm going, because I don't want to see opportunities out here that don't fit into my direction, because that will veer you off course. And the best in the world know how to stay in that moment and do that. They make that sacrifice to the focused areas only, and they are prepared for what's ready to come. So just a little note today on the best in the world and the Winners Find a Way show on what it takes. And it is about paying the fee. There's no free lunch. We know that economics, right? There's no free pass. You reap what you sow. So get out there and do the work. Go the extra mile. You need 10,000 hours. You might be able to hyper that learning maybe down to 7 or 8,000 hours, depending on the coaching, the value you can get by moving you along faster. The sacrifice it's going to take and the preparation and readiness in every moment for the opportunity that takes you to the next level, that takes you to the next level, can take you to that next level. Look for those opportunities. They'll come inside your focus, not outside your focus. So that's the key element behind focus and sacrifice. So, hey, always wonderful to see everybody on the Winners Find a Way show. Little tip of the trade today, that the best in the world, they understand it, they get it. So if you want to be the best in the world today, what are you doing about it? Are you getting going? Always can find us, leadershipity.com. You can reach out to me directly on LinkedIn, all my channels at Trent M. Clark or on Leadershipity. You can find us everywhere on the social media. As always, thank you for joining me again and have a fabulous weekend.